I remember the first time somebody said to me, through your adversity, you will find your strength. And where you lose yourself, you're going to find yourself. And at the time, I thought to myself, oh my God, that is such bullshit. I mean, why should you have to suffer in order to find your true strength? And it's only in the last decade that the actual truth of that statement has become so very apparent to me. I mean, everything that has happened in my past has ultimately brought me to where I am today. And for that, I have a true appreciation, and I never thought I'd hear myself say that because at the time it seemed like it was just never going to end. And, I was very much in this place of self pity and, oh, woe is me. And yet, now that I look back, I mean, in order to come out of that situation, I had to develop all of these attributes and characteristics which make me who I am today. And I suppose it's been able to have a little bit of faith in what is happening to you, assuming that it is for the greater good, that will help you get through tough times in life. And that's not always easy. And when I talk about faith, it's not necessarily a religious faith, but it's just a belief that there is something better out there for you and that things are happening for a reason. And it may all sound a little bit airy fairy, but who cares? I mean, if it helps you get through tough times, then so be it. And it's worth noting that times of adversity can bring to us some great advantages. One of them being we get to recognize and witness our true potential strength as a person, because when you're down and out, when you're on rock bottom, you need to muster every single bit of strength you have available in you just to get yourself out of that abyss. And once you have recognized that strength, you can turn it to absolutely any area of your life. Now, that being said, you have to act on it fairly quickly, otherwise you could become complacent again. But if you can very quickly say, oh my God, well, if I can pull myself out of that situation, if I can survive that, despite the fact that I thought I was never going to make it through, then what else am I potentially able to do? And use that energy and use that wisdom and use that strength to propel your life forward and to do all these good things that are potentially open to your true essence as a person. Likewise, when you struggle, you become a lot more aware of the people in your life that are reflective of the life that you actually want to live. I mean, we all tend to have a very wide network. And I suppose a lot of those acquaintances are more superficial and don't actually serve us all that well. So it's about becoming aware of the people who reflect your core values, your core truths, your core beliefs, and who are also traveling the same journey as you are, because these are the people more likely to project you forward. These are the people who are more likely to keep you on the true potential path available to you. And they're the people who tend to stick around when things are a little bit rough, when the sea isn't as calm as it would normally be. And these are the people that you should hold on to. So if anything, adversity kind of is very much a filter for all of the people who are beneficial to you and those which are just more superficial acquaintances. But I suppose one of the greatest advantages of a struggle is your change in perspective. You become so much more aware of what's actually important. I think we tend to put a lot of time and energy into how we look, how we appear to others, what sort of achievements we're kind of clocking up, how much money we have, what clothes we're wearing. And it's all very superficial. It's not very fulfilling. And yet it kind of keeps us ticking over. We tend to think it's important. And then when we struggle, it's amazing how we gain an appreciation of how much peace of mind and contentment is actually worth. How much being self-aware, being a good person, being able to show up for yourself and show up for other people, how important all of that stuff is. And that shift, once it's occurred, it's very hard to go back, but it's a beautiful way of being, because, as I said, as long as you're tied up in the more superficial stuff, you're never really going to develop that much as a person. Whereas when you become more aware of, I suppose, our our natural inclination to become self aware, to realize our full potential as people, and to be good to one another, then you can't help but change the way in which you live your life. You start doing things that are beneficial to others, that are beneficial to yourself. You practice self awareness, you practice self acceptance, and you practice gratitude for the life that you have. I'm currently reading a book by a lady called Mary O'Malley, and she has one particular line in it that I just absolutely adore. And I actually had to write it down because I just wasn't going to remember it. And it's, life is set up to bring up what has been bound up so we can open up to be freed up, so we can show up. And I was just blown away by that. I mean, literally, life is all about opening you up, because we tend to have closed ourselves off to our true emotional experience and our true potential as people. We conform to what we think is required of us, and oftentimes it takes really tough times to be knocked back to our senses, to realize what's important, to realize that we need to open ourselves up emotionally to other people, as opposed to keeping ourselves shut off, and to all the potential love and amazingness that is out there, as opposed to, just kind of moving along as everybody else does on that kind of hedonic treadmill, going through the motions and not living. And it's all about creating aliveness, a sense of aliveness, a sense of awareness. And that's of good and bad. That doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect or going to be full of joy, but it just means that you are living every moment, experiencing every moment. And when you have experienced tough times and adversity, you become aware of what it is to live. You become aware of what it is to struggle, but you also become aware of how immensely joyful life can be once you've come out the other side. And so if you are struggling, even though it may be difficult to put a positive light on it, just try to maybe recognize that through this time you will grow, you will flourish as a person, and you will come out the other side, because good times don't last forever, but neither do bad times. If you are struggling at the moment and you would just need, or you would just like a little bit of help in creating acceptance and awareness and finding better ways to regulate and come out the other side, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie.